In this video, we're going to look at differentiating polar curves. So fundamentally, we'd like to be able to find expressions for things like dy by dx with a view to finding tangents, normals, stationary points, all that sort of stuff. So how do we do that? We have an expression which is r in terms of theta. So r as some function of theta. Well, if we want to find dy by dx, which is our gradient at any point, we can find dy by d theta and multiply this by d theta by dx. Or equivalently, we can find dy by d theta and divide that by dx by d theta. So that begs the question, how do we find dy by d theta and how do we find dx by d theta? Well, we do that by considering what the relationship is between x and y and r and theta. And what we have is that x equals r cos theta and y equals r sine theta. So the idea is by substituting in our value of r, we can find an expression just in terms of theta of x, and we can differentiate that with respect to theta to find dx by d theta and do the same thing for y. So as a really simple example, suppose we had the polar curve r equals 3. So that is just a circle with a radius of 3. So how do we figure out dy by dx? Well, I'd find that x equals r cos theta, so that's 3 cos theta, meaning that dx by d theta is minus 3 sine theta, and then y is r sine theta, so that's 3 sine theta, and so dy by d theta is 3 cos theta. And that means that dy by dx is dy by d theta divided by dx by d theta. So 3 cos theta divided by minus 3 sine theta. All of that gives us minus cot theta. So there would be my expression for dy by dx in terms of theta. And then I could do things like find tangents at particular points. Let's now look at a slightly harder example, but still relatively simple. Given that r equals 1 plus cos theta, that's our cardioid, find the value of dy by dx when theta is pi over 6. So we'll need dx by d theta and dy by d theta. So x is r cos theta. So it's r cos theta. Okay, x is always r cos theta. So what do we have? We have cos theta plus cos squared theta. So that means that dx by d theta is minus sine theta. Now what have we got? Differentiating cos squared theta. The power comes down and drops by 1, so that's 2 cos theta. Then multiply by the derivative of cos theta, which is minus sine theta. So there's our dx by d theta. Now I could factorize this, I could try to neaten it up, but I'm not going to bother because it didn't ask for a nice expression for dy by dx. It asked for the value of dy by dx when theta is pi over 6. I'll just leave it messy and just substitute in pi over 6 when I'm ready. Y is r sine theta, so r sine theta. So expanded, that is sine theta plus sine theta cos theta. Okay, I could differentiate this using the product rule, or I could express it as half sine 2 theta. Just for ease, I think I'll probably just do that. So sine theta plus half sine 2 theta, slightly easier to differentiate. So dy by d theta is cos theta, it's derivative of sine theta, and then differentiating this, I get cos 2 theta. Okay, now I can find what dy, well, you know what, I'll just find what dy by dx, what dy by d theta and dx by d theta are at pi over 6. So when theta is pi over 6. We have dx by d theta is, and I can probably just key this all into my calculator, right? So we have minus sine pi over 6 minus 2 cos pi over 6 times sine pi over 6, and I get minus 1 minus root 3 all over 2, and I also get dy by d theta as cos pi over 6 plus cos 2 pi over 6, and I end up with 1 plus root 3 over 2, and therefore dy by dx is this value divided by this value. When you divide those, you just get minus 1. So I found the value of dy by dx when theta is pi over 6. Now, it didn't ask for this, but just as a little test of what we were doing with our sketching, we could think of that if that makes sense. Well, 1 plus cos theta is a standard cardioid, so that is this kind of shape here. Not the best drawn cardioid ever. Now, theta equals pi over 6 is this sort of angle, something like that, equivalent to 30 degrees. And the value of dy by dx is just the gradient of the curve, the gradient of the tangent there. And yeah, I could say plausibly that is minus 1. Now, obviously a sketch doesn't prove it's minus 1, but for instance, if my answer here had been 1, well, I can be pretty sure that the gradient is negative there. So it's nice to just see that the calculator value checks out with what we know about what the sketch looks like. Okay, let's have a go at this one. Given that r equals e to the 4 theta, and theta exists between 0 and pi by 2, find the points on the curve where the tangents are parallel to the initial line and perpendicular to the initial line. Okay, before we come on to this question, let's just discuss this point. In fact, we'll go back to the previous one, just take a look. So if I imagine this cardioid here, let's just clear out some of the lines I had before. If I imagine this cardioid and think where on the cardioid is the tangent parallel to the initial line and perpendicular to the initial line, well, parallel to the initial line is this line here. Okay, this is the initial line. It's the theta equals 0 line. So parallel to that would be a point on the curve that is parallel to that, and that's here. It's basically stationary points. So that's parallel to the initial line, and that's parallel to the initial line. And where is the tangent perpendicular? Well, it's when it's vertical. So that's this point here, which should be directly underneath, bad sketch, and this point here. Messy sketch, but you get the idea. So those aren't stationary points. Those are called critical points. They're effectively when you have infinite gradient, or when dx by dy is 0, rather than dy by dx equaling 0. So that's our key insight. These points where the tangent is parallel to the initial line, that's where dy by dx equals 0. And the points where it's vertical, perpendicular to the initial line, is where dx by dy is 0. Now, if dy by dx equals 0, that does imply that dy by d theta equals 0. And similarly here, this implies that dx by d theta equals 0. So that's kind of how we find these points. Okay, so let's apply that now here. So to find the points that are parallel to the initial line, the stationary points, we want dy by d theta. I'm going to set that equal to 0. So y is r sine theta. So that's r sine theta. So I can now differentiate that. Dy by d theta. If I consider this as uv, it's u v dash plus u dash, which is 4e to the 4 theta, v. And we're going to set this equal to 0 to find the points we're looking for. So I can factorize out e to the 4 theta, leaving me with cos theta plus 4 sine theta. Cos 4 theta is never 0, so I don't need to worry about that. I just need to solve cos theta plus 4 sine theta equals 0, which is where 4 sine theta is equal to minus cos theta. Dividing through by cos theta and by 4, dividing through by cos theta gets me tan theta, and dividing through by 4 gets me minus a quarter. Right, so that tells me that theta is minus 0.245, but that is not in the range 0 to pi, so I can add pi and I can get 2.897, and that's the one I want. So here's the value of theta. So when it says find the point, well, in an exam it would probably be very, very kind of explicit about how he wanted it, but typically that would either be coordinates or the kind of value of theta and the value of r. I'll show you both. If we were doing it as value of r, value of theta, we'd simply have theta equals 2.897 and r equals, and I'm simply subbing r into that. Now, this is for sure not going to be a pretty number, so multiply that by 4, do e to the power of that, and it's something absolutely enormous, 107,630.1. There we go. And if we were doing it as coordinates, well, remember that x is r cos theta and y is r sine theta. So if we were doing it as coordinates, it would simply be that times cos of that. So that would be r times cos 2.897, which is minus 104,426.6, and then the y values are sine of that, so that is 26,063. So this one's 0.8, and it's enormous because e to the 4 theta just grows unbelievably quickly, right? We've got by the time theta is nearly 3, that's almost e to the 12, which is massive. Okay, there's the point, and there's only one, which where the tangent is parallel to the initial line. Perpendicular to the initial line, we want to consider x. So x equals r cos theta. So r cos theta. And so dx by d theta is u v dash, which is minus sine theta, plus u dash v, so 4e to the 4 theta cos theta. Setting that equal to 0, well, I'll factorise out the e to the 4 theta, leaving me with minus sine theta plus 4 cos theta. That means that sine theta equals 4 cos theta. Dividing through by cos, I get tan theta equals 4. So solving this, I get theta is 1.326. That is in the range 0 to pi, and if I add and or subtract pi, it won't be. So there's my value of theta. Once again, we could either express the point as a theta value and an r value, or as coordinates. And in an exam, don't worry, they would be super clear about that. So e to the power of 4 times that value of theta gets me almost exactly 201. And if we wanted coordinates, well, it would be r cos theta for the x value, so r cos 1.326, which is 48.7, and r sine theta for the y value, which is 195.00, loads of zeros, so that'll do, 0.0. So that's how we find these equivalents to stationary and critical points. They're usually expressed as points where tangents are parallel or perpendicular to the initial line.